That's embarrassing. Excuse me for 1 second. Let's just turn that off. Back to business. So, today we're here to talk about John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau, two very important social contract theorists, or philosophers who debate about society's evolution from the state of nature. Now, what's the state of nature? State of nature is the time when only people existed. There was no governments or regulations. Imagine pretty much the Lord of the Flies. Everyone always doing what they want to. And that's great for a little while, but eventually certain issues come up. There are some people in society who act out and do things to hurt other members of their society. For example, murderers and thieves. Obviously, those kind of crimes can't be allowed to continue, so people in a given society come together and make an agreement. In exchange for protection and other services from the state, the people of that society give up their ability to do whatever they want all the time and give up some of their rights to their new government. They must act in a way that is best for the society as a whole. Now, that's basically a general definition of social contract theory, but there are different perspectives on it. So, with their perspectives, John and John, back to you.
So, who are you?
I am Jean-Jacques Rousseau!
Calm down. So, I hear you're a pretty big deal in philosophy. What's this collectivism that you talk about?
Essentially, collectivism is when the society gives up their rights to the state, so in turn, the state has an obligation to follow the general will of the people, or the will of the majority.
But doesn't that mean that not everyone's happy with the state's decisions?
Yeah, that's right, because we're trying to fulfill the needs of the majority, because the government has no right to exist without the approval of the people. So whenever we're talking about this, minorities really don't matter.
But doesn't that kind of justify every form of oppression ever?
You're John Locke, right?
Yes.
So, why do we even need a social contract?
People need the social contract with their government in order to protect their fundamental rights.
So, but don't they in turn give up some of their fundamental rights in order to get this protection from their government?
Yes, but then the government in turn takes care of them and gives them protection.
So you talk a lot about these inalienable rights. Would you go into exactly what those are?
Life, liberty, and property. It's actually pretty simple.
Okay, and those sound really familiar. You know, did you get those from the Declaration of Independence?
I came along way before the Declaration of Independence. Literally everything in the Declaration of Independence came from my philosophy. So no, I didn't get it from the Declaration of Independence. And to the people who wrote the Declaration of Independence, just saying, changing one word to 3 words does not make it not plagiarism. Okay.
So what happens whenever a government does violate these inalienable rights?
It then becomes an unjust leadership and can be overthrown.
So they can just overthrow their government?
Yep.
So obviously we made a pretty big impact on our societies, but who's going to carry the torch on to the next generation? John Rawls.
So, Colin, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit more about John Rawls?
Back to you, Colin. In A Theory of Justice, Rawls brings forth the concept that justice is inherently fairness. He holds that an adequate account of justice cannot be derived from utilitarianism, or the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people, because that realm of thinking is consistent with undesirable forms of government, in which the greater happiness of a majority is achieved by neglecting the rights and interests of the minority. Reviving the idea of a social contract, Rawls argues that justice consists of the basic principles of government that free and rational individuals would agree to in a hypothetical situation of perfect equality. In order to ensure that the chosen principles are fair, Rawls imagines a group of individuals who have been made ignorant to their social, economic, and historical circumstances from which they come, as well as their basic values and goals, including the conception of what constitutes a good life. Situated behind this veil of ignorance, they could not be influenced by self-interested desires to benefit some social groups, like the groups they belong to, at the expense of others. Thus, they would not know any facts about their race, sex, age, religion, social economic class, wealth, income, intelligence, abilities, talents, and so on. So what Rawls is trying to do is give the government a way to hone in on what a just government would do in these situations by looking behind this veil of ignorance.